Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Salutations to Bhagavan Ramakrishna. We have in this class on Mantra Yoga 2, the 8th class, we're going to speak of something which is extremely important for spiritual practices and spiritual practitioners. That is countering daydream. Now, the human mind, rather we can say the human brain also, spends almost 47%, more than 45% of its waking consciousness in daydreaming. So we know when people are meditating, they're meditating for an hour, but actually they're meditating for half an hour. You get the idea. But why can't we use this other half an hour? That is the topic we are going to discuss today. How to counter it. So what is daydreaming? Reverie, fancy, fantasy, spontaneous thoughts. Okay, the mind working on a default, you can say, mechanism. It daydreams. This has been a very vexing problem for all spiritual aspirants of all classes, of all sects, of every religion, everywhere. Ordinarily, neurologists or psychologists say daydreaming kind of, it's okay, it's natural, it's creative, it's biologically kind of okay, there is no harm. But yes, but we know what happens is a series of thoughts in daydreams comes. It detaches you from the task at hand and puts you into a personal realm, a private personal realm. These thoughts just come out when you're not extremely focused. If you notice, when you're focusing, there are no extraneous or intruding thoughts. It's only when you relax a bit mentally or even physically, close your eyes or even keep your eyes open, and then you see something like you wander away. And this is the problem. Whatever you're doing, there's a far away look in your eyes. You are not there. You are here, but you are not there. This is. Now, as I said, it is a series of thoughts, harmless thoughts at times. If only there's some mental aberration, then you'll have these murderous thoughts. But generally they are just reverie, just things coming out, leaving you. For many people, this is a healthy state of mind. Yeah, but then no bosses would like their workers to sit down and daydream the whole day. They want them to work. Similarly, even in spiritual practices, when you're sitting down to do japa, meditate, you're not supposed to sit down and daydream. Because these thoughts, daydreams, are uncontrollable. They are not in your control at all. So you have this idea, you're sitting down, and then you are so vexed. You're supposed to meditate, but all these thoughts, where have they come from? Oh my God. So you have to be careful about what these thoughts are. So daydreams are nothing but, as we say, there's these thoughts which come, they come actually from the outer fringes of the mind. Sorry. They come from the outer fringes of the mind, and they slowly, they come towards in the core. In that core where you have what is called now the daydreams, the reverie. And it's important to know that when we see this, what exactly, how do you define it? So when you said half of our waking life is spent in daydreaming, it's a stream of consciousness that makes one detached from the task at hand, and the attention drifts into a personal realm. This is what the whole thing is. So, takes you away. If a task at hand, then push. Okay. Now, the higher you can say thoughts, rather I would not say higher distractive thoughts which they come, they are of a different class. It's like a bull elephant charging at you. And what do? Well, these are real distractions. So you simply, hey, wait. You are all taken away. You are probably sitting down in a meditation seat or whatever, but you're completely distracted. Or maybe if you don't like a lion, you don't like elephant, maybe a lion. So that's another kind of, this is a terribly distractive thoughts. And these thoughts are like that. They completely distract you. While in daydreaming, what happens is, those things are very soft. They are like, there are two classes of this. They come there, you're like me watching a butterfly, kind of, yes. And you're thinking of something else. It comes unobtrusively, harmlessly, comes and takes your attention away. Now, like you're walking down the path, the garden path, and it's okay, you're supposed to walk on the path, but your attention always will go around to the surrounding. There, you stop and then you walk around, then you look around and say, you're completely, as you say. So daydreams engage you, and higher you can see, or stronger thoughts, they distract you completely. So these daydreaming thoughts are actually more harmful than those big distracting thoughts. Like a charging bull elephant to you, or a lion. What happens is, these things take you down very slowly, very subtly, very carefully, and you're taken away. So in the Yoga Sutras, it said, those very distractive thoughts are the expanded ones. They the very strong impressions are expanded. They are called Uddharanam. And these weak impressions are what is called attenuated impressions in the mind. They are called Tanu. Fine, subtle. Both these are, you can say, obstacles, but the weak impressions, the attenuated, the daydreaming is very, very, you can say, disruptive. So you got to take care of this first. Now, how do you do that? Like, as I mentioned, it is a default mode of the mind. When you don't have anything to do, the mind will daydream. You see, the brain has to keep itself constantly engaged. Constantly. And it is also found that when you daydream, the limbic system, the cortex and the cerebellum they all light up. So the brain is kind of busy. Daydreams change your mind. So slowly we'll have to curb it. And how do we curb it? First thing is, when these thoughts come, don't be curious. Okay. Some thought will come, and generally we are very curious. What happened? What happened? Don't try and remember what happened next. Things will come. I see a butterfly, and then my thoughts will wander. Don't let it wander. Then third is, don't think of any other consequence or other outcome, a different outcome. I'm walking down, and then I'm daydreaming, and then I think, suppose an elephant comes. Don't do that. Don't suppose, don't push, don't do. So these are the three principles. Don't be curious about what comes, what is going to come next. So don't try to remember also what comes next, what happens next. No. And also, don't think of any possible another outcome of what you are seeing. Suppose it's like that, don't do that. So these are the three things that you can guard. These are primary things. So when you start doing japa, what happens is, now you are sitting down, and as I mentioned, if the attention is slightly diverted, the mind will daydream. So how do you counter it? For a very long time I used to wonder, why our sages, and you can say these great rishis, they wanted us to use a rosary or count on the fingers. And this is there in all religions. It's just not there, it's just in one specific. It's on all religions. Why is that? Now neurology says that it is simple. You know what? The motor cortex, okay, major part of it is involved in the fingers, thumb, lips and tongue and speech. So it's amazing when you, suppose you take a rosary, okay, and when you're doing a rosary like this, your fingers are engaged, your motor cortex is engaged, you're mentally repeating the mantra, or even audibly also. So this is actually completely engaging your your motor cortex. And the moment your motor cortex is engaged, what happens is your daydreaming stops. So this has been an age-old, you can say, use the rosary. And then when I was young, I used to say, why do I need to count? Is God happy with this counting? No, God is not happy with this counting or not counting or whatever. He is counting on you to think of Him. So, this is now, it is now, you can be explained from the neurological standpoint. This motor cortex engages, most part of it is dominated by the fingers, the thumb, speech, mouth, and you can say the throat also. So when you are repeating it and counting, your motor cortex is working, that's suppressing your daydreaming. Another thing that we need to also know, there are people who I would recommend, if they are daydreaming, what they would do is keep a small clean cloth in front of you, keep a picture of the deity in front of you. Okay. Now, what does it do? What does it help? Either you can keep it here, or you can keep it here. Now, what it does, don't close your eyes completely. Don't shut your eyes. Keep them half opened. And when you are doing japa, like this, you are doing japa, okay, keep your eyes closed and look within. But when your mind starts floating, getting distracted, keep your point of vision on this picture. This becomes very important. It becomes very powerful also. So here you are. You have a picture right there where your eyes fall. And that is a help. So I would ask many people who are distracted or engaged with daydreaming, don't close your eyes completely. Keep them half open. And that is the yogic way. So instead of gazing at the tip of your nose, as is recommended in the books of yoga and even the Bhagavad Gita, keep a picture of God or your deity or a symbol in the line of your vision. Now, this comes with a little practice. Keep your eyes half closed. Look within. It's like, Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of like when a hen is sitting down on her eggs to hatch them, the hen or the bird has a faraway look in the eyes. You know what it means? That hen or the bird is not looking out. Its attention is on the eggs. So when you are doing japa with your eyes half closed, the eyes will have a faraway look. That is, you're looking inside. Okay? Or a blank look. That's better. Now, as you keep on doing, then when you see that the attention is straying away, focus those eyes now on the picture here. This will give you a stability. Then another way that you can also counter daydreams is if there's no one around, articulate it audibly or semi-audibly. Or if there's people around and you don't want them to hear or know that you are meditating, then it's like, suppose I say, Jai Shri Rama. Okay? You can hear it, I can hear it. You close your eyes or half close your eyes and repeat this same Jai Shri Rama mentally, and you must be able to hear it loud and clear, the way you are hearing it. So that is the way you articulate it loudly within, mentally. This is actually the proper way of doing repetition of God's name, japa. You must be able to repeat the mantra loud and clear so you can hear it mentally. So you're repeating it mentally as well as hearing it mentally. This will remove the daydreaming engagements. And then your mind will focus. If it strays, bring it back in. If it strays, bring it back in. Over and over. Till the mind gets trained that at the time of meditation or japa, I have to give 100% of my mind. Not 50%. Like we are. So we are saying, I've been meditating for so long. Where's God has not yet come. eyes are closed and I open my one eye and say, God, where? Not yet come. So, we need to understand, you give 100%, go for quality. And you won't believe the changes that will take place in your own mind. That which was just natural, daydreaming, reverie, fancy, spontaneous thoughts, mind wandering, whatever you like to call it, now it's under your control. You can daydream when you want, like you're walking on the streets or you're driving and your mind wanders and it comes back. It's okay. But while you're meditating, and slowly the daydreaming in other areas of your life will also come under your own control. Then you will understand the power of this mantra and how effective it is in controlling the mind. So, like I said, if you're too distracted, then know those distractive thoughts are very powerful. If you are just engaged mildly, they are the daydreaming thoughts, they are those fine, attenuated thoughts. So, the three ways to counter it: one is repeating it loudly within, the other is using the motor cortex to counter daydreaming, using the half-closed eye, the vision, to look at the symbol or the deity or the picture of God. Don't keep that picture of God or symbol or anything on a dirty place, okay? And if you're meditating, see that your feet are clean. So otherwise, you come around and sit down with dirty or dusty feet, and then you keep the picture of God there. You can also keep it on your lap. That's another thing. And then we have something called don't be curious. Don't see what's going to come next. Don't try to suppose a different outcome from what you are seeing. These are the few principles to counter this. So you are going to get that half of your mind energy which is just wasted. And then it will come, and then the mind will follow you like a puppy dog. Just because you've put a kind of a leash on it also. It's going to follow it. Now in the practice, we are going to use the mantra Jai Shri Rama. Okay. Take a look at this picture, then it becomes kind of easy for you to. Okay. Rama is the incarnation of God and is so wonderful. I mean, he's a hero of many, many young boys and girls. Everybody would like to aspire to be like Rama. So in India, the young girls have said, be like Sita. And the young boys have said, be like Rama. So this becomes a role model. It's so human and yet so divine. And that will awaken us. So when we are meditating or doing japa, we will, as we have said, keep your body straight, sit down straight. Keep your eyes half closed. Don't close them fully. Now look within. Though your eyes are half open, put your mind's eye on the flame in the center of your chest. Now within that flame, see the picture of Rama. Now repeat it audibly. Jai Shri Rama. Jai Shri Rama. Jai Shri Rama. Now make it semi-audible. Jai Shri Rama. Jai Shri Rama. Jai Shri Rama. Now if your mind is distracted or engaged, look at the picture on your screen of Ramas. Or, to do even better, keep a picture of a deity in front of you, where your eyes fall. Now mentally repeat Jai Shri Rama, and you must be able to hear it distinctly. Go down to the semi-audible, please. Jai Shri Rama. Jai Shri Rama. At the same time, either looking at Rama within your chest or looking at Rama on the screen. Jai Shri Rama. Now make it audible. Jai Shri Rama. Jai Shri Rama. Jai Shri Rama. Make it silent now. Only you can hear it. And look at Rama's picture inside. Struggle to see that picture inside while repeating the mantra. If there are intruding thoughts, look at the picture on your screen. Keep on looking at the picture on the screen. Now transfer that picture in your heart. Look at that picture in your heart now. If it's getting difficult, again look at the picture on the screen. Keep repeating the mantra mentally. Now pick that picture mentally and keep it in your heart. Open your eyes, please. Breathe deeply. Om Shri Ram Krishna. So, in this case, we have used the computer. You're sitting down in front of the computer and anywhere else, and you're watching this. Ideally, you can just keep a picture of your deity here in front of you and keep on kind of watching it like this. Or modern people now, they can also keep a computer. Doesn't matter. You can keep it there. Or your iPad or whatever. Even your iPhone, but keep the picture there. So where your eyes can fall very easily without your eyeballs moving, looking up. So when your eyes are half closed, what happens? You can see as it were inside, as well as when you're distracted, you can see things outside also. This will completely eliminate daydreaming. And as I said, if you have a rosary, keep on counting. Or, in many cases, we ask people to count on their fingers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when it's 10 here, then your left hand has this one flange here, just one. Okay? And then 20, this is 20, and this is 30, and this is 40, and this is 50, and this is 60, and this is 70, and this is 80, this is 90, and 100. So this is how you you start counting. This, as I said, what it does, it makes the motor cortex active and it suppresses your daydreaming. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Okay. How to stop mental chatter when I sit idle or free and after the mind gets panic of thoughts and make me nervous? There is a series in our first meditation skills, meditation for beginners. In that, we have discussed how to stop mental chatter. Go through that as well as do today's practice. If you can do that, you're going to stop mental chatter. Mental chatter and daydreaming are in a way linked. Okay. My mind always runs after negative thoughts and how to stop it. Okay, you do this. This is the best way how you're going to stop your negative thoughts, daydreamings and all these things. Please say any other chant mantra of, okay. We have been giving these classes on mantra yoga. We have been explaining these mantras, some of these mantras. But I want you to not complicate things. Just take a simple thing. Take what mantra you like of Ramakrishna or Holy Mother and all. If you have been initiated, take that mantra. And every mantra has 3 levels. The individual, the cosmic, and then the universal. So Om is the absolute, the universal. Then it comes down to the next level is the cosmic, the second sound. And then the third is when the deity is invoked, that has become the individual. So that absolute comes down to the cosmic, and from the cosmic it comes down to the personal level, individual level. So you can interact with that. So Om Namah Shivaya. Suppose you say Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva, as we know, is become the individual, the deity there. Nama becomes the middle ground, the cosmic, and the Om is the absolute. So every time you repeat a mantra, These three levels have to be understood. Please check our previous videos for this kind of explanation. The three kinds of space, which has been also in a meditation series. In meditation, my leg falls asleep. Oh my God, after half an hour sitting. Is this normal or should I be sitting differently? In the beginning, it is normal. But as you advance, you can sit down at least for an hour without the leg going numb, falling asleep. And as body consciousness diminishes, you will find that you can sit down without any part of your body going to sleep. So it's better that your leg goes to sleep than your mind going to sleep. So that's the idea. So many people, they sit down to meditate and they fall asleep. So this is another thing that happens when you daydream excessively. You go into a torpor, you go into sleep. So what you could do is strengthen your legs, please. Take the normal, you can say, walk. And then the exercises I will recommend is the sit-ups. They are kind of good to strengthen your legs. So the more you have good blood circulation going on, it won't fall asleep. Eyes roll up automatically. Please don't do that. Don't roll your eyes up, roll your eyes automatically. That is bad. No meditation practice says the eyes should be still. No rolling of the eyes. That is bad. Neck starts to dance like a shake. Don't. The neck should be straight. Body goes into involuntary movement. Please don't. The Bhagavad Gita is clear. It's saying samam kaya shiro grivam dharayan achalam se. Keeping the head, the neck and the body straight, still, without movement. And keeping the eyes fixed right here. That is, so all these kind of things are bad. Please, if there is an awakening of the Kundalini, that's a different thing. But it's obvious that this is not related to any awakening of the Kundalini. When the Kundalini awakens, that thing, the tremor you feel down your spine. The tremor is like an earthquake, like the earth moving under your feet. And then the energy starts rising up slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly. But other than that, please keep your body and your neck and your eyes still. Okay. When I do japa and meditate on Krishna, closing my eyes at night, I could feel someone is approaching towards me, surrounding me. I get scared. My breathing stops gradually and body gets heated up. Well, why should you get scared? Why should you get scared? If you are meditating on Sri Krishna, if Sri Krishna you think is coming, you should be happy. You should be dancing in joy. Finally, someone is coming. I'm calling and calling and calling. And why should you feel scared? So that is another thing. Then, when I close my eyes, don't close your eyes. Sometimes what happens when you close your eyes in the middle of the night, your own subconscious mind, which is very, very active and very, very dominant as evening descends, your subconscious mind becomes very active. Your subconscious mind starts punching you, pummeling you with all these kind of things. So keep your eyes half open, keep a small kind of, you can say, consciousness or light there, and meditate. And as you meditate and you feel somebody come, you ask that person, who is there, what is there? It's only your imagination you will find. Your own subconscious mind is projecting all these things. Curb it. That's the way. Breathing stops. Breathing will stop as japa becomes very deep. Breathing stops. It becomes slow and then it stops. Body shouldn't get heated up. too much. I mean, why should the body get heated up? So only in the highest meditations, when it's like getting into samadhi, when your body heats up, and that is because of the concentration. When your mind is extremely concentrated, what happens is the subtle body and the life force heats up. It's like, taking a kind of a magnifying glass and, converging the rays of the sun into one point, something like that. My favorite, okay, thank you. I meditate just before bed, I cannot sleep. Is that odd? Am I doing something wrong? No. If you're meditating and you're meditating correctly, the sattva guna, the light and knowledge, that increases in your body. And the tamas, that sleep and sloth and laziness, is diminished. So that's why you feel that you could give up sleep, or it takes a long time for you to sleep. So I would request you to do meditation in the evening. So just before you go to sleep, just relax. Because the next day you need to be fresh in order to work and do everything else. If you are sleep deprived, you will have other problems, health problems. So meditate in the evening instead of night. And in the night, don't do deep meditation. Just take the normal repetition of God's name slowly, and then let sleep steal over you, and then you go down to sleep. That's it. Can I meditate on nothingness or void? No. You have to have an object of meditation. Meditation, the word meditation itself means an object. If you want to meditate on void, that void becomes the object of meditation. Please remember. Because you are meditating on void, and that void becomes an object. So it's better to meditate on a divine object. That is not just my opinion, but it is the opinion of all scriptures on yoga. Otherwise, you're meditating on void and you fall asleep, or everything is kind of blank. You're sitting down with nothing. That blank state of mind is not recommended for meditation. Okay. Should I focus on the sound of the mantra or my Ishta Devata in the heart? Both. You have to focus both on the sound as well as the image of your chosen deity in your heart. Do both. The mind can do both. Okay. What is the difference between japa and meditation? Sri Ramakrishna said japa will lead to meditation. The repetition, and we have seen meditative japa we have done. Do it slowly, and then as the mantra becomes deeper and deeper, it stops. It vibrates without vibration deep inside. You will not feel it. It has merged into meditation. Check out some of our videos on meditation skills for meditators. And so thank you very much. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.